What should I do to master the mind? Today's question is, what should I do to master the mind? When you understand that the mind are mostly thoughts and you need not listen to it, then you become master of your mind. So many thoughts flow into the mind. They come in, go out, and we give importance to a lot of them. There is a continuous chatter. So, since we give so much of importance to it, our energy is dissipated. Whereas, what is required for your living, your day-to-day living and future planning, that if you pay attention, and rest of the thoughts, if you allow it to flow freely without holding on to it, without paying attention to it, then you are mastering your mind. It's not a control, but awareness. The first we will see from J.Krishnamurti's book, First and Last Freedom. If a change is through conformity to a pattern projected by the mind, through a reasonable, well-studied plan, then it is still within the mind. That is, if you going to form a certain rules and follow it, still it is within the field of the mind. So you are not overcoming the mind, but enhancing or strengthening the mind and thought. Therefore, whatever the mind calculates becomes the end, the vision for which we are willing to sacrifice ourselves and others. It is our vision, our idea, and for that we are willing to sacrifice our life and others' life, the life of our companions, our relatives, our workers. So we sacrifice their life also. If you maintain that, then it follows that we as human beings are merely the creation of the mind, which implies conformity, compulsion, brutality, dictatorships, concentration camps, and the whole business. This is how our humanity lives, like having an idea, making people conform to it. So there will be certain people revolting it, so there will be brutality, there will be dictatorship, then there will be concentration camps. The whole business will come. When we worship the mind, all that is implied, is it not? If I realize this, if I see the futility of discipline, of the control, if I see that various forms of suppression only strengthen the me and the mind, then what am I to do? One must first see the extraordinary subtle activities of the me, of the mind. One must become aware of the ideas, beliefs, speculations, and put them all aside for their deceptions. What happens when you bring about rules, suppress others, make others and yourself follow an ideal? It only merely strengthens the idea of me, the ego. That brings about all the violence. So if you want to put up the me, the ego, then you should be aware of this. It is not a control. Any control will strengthen only the idea of me and myself. So the awareness brings an understanding, and that reduces the strength of the me. When the mind realizes that any speculation, any verbalization, any form of thought only gives the strength to me, when it sees that as long as the thinker exists apart from thought, there must be limitation. The conflict of duality, when the mind realizes that, then it is watchful, everlastingly aware of how it is separating itself from experience, asserting itself, seeking power. So when there is awareness, then you find out how the thinker separates himself from the thought. If the experience separates himself from the experience, asserting himself, seeking power. In that awareness, if the mind pursues it ever more deeply and extensively, without seeking an end, a goal, there comes a state in which the thinker and the thought are one. In that state, there is no effort, there is no becoming, there is no desire to the change. In that state, the me is not there, for there is a transformation which is not of the mind. It is only when the mind is empty, then there is possibility of creation. But I do not mean this superficial emptiness, which most of us have. Most of us are superficially empty, and it shows itself through the desire for distraction. We want to be amused, so we turn to books, to the radio, we run to lectures, to authorities. Mind is everlastingly filling itself. I am not talking about the emptiness which is thoughtlessness. On the contrary, I am talking of the emptiness which comes through extraordinary thoughtfulness. When the mind sees its own power of creating illusion and goes beyond. So when you see that it is the mind which creates all this illusion of control, ideas, when you are aware of that, then the illusion, you come out of the illusion and go beyond that. So that is the only way, understanding it, not controlling, moving towards an idea, to a goal. That all strengthens the me, the ego. So awareness brings about death of the illusion. So next we will see a few lines from I Am the Gate by Osho. So as the mind dies, when I say the mind dies, I only mean the walls of the mind, the emptiness within the space remains, becomes greater. He says, the mind, the shell, when it breaks, the ego, when it breaks, the emptiness remains. It becomes one with the universal. That's what he says. That is consciousness. Make a distinction. I call the emptiness within consciousness and the walls around it the mind. Or you can say it like this: mind with a small m dies, mind with a capital M goes on living. Then it is not your mind, it cannot be yours. If these walls are removed, this room will not be mind. The room will be there, but it will not be mind. Because mind can only be walls. Mind can only be limitations. This pure emptiness cannot be mind. So when the mind with a small m dies and the mind with a capital M is there, you are not there. You are replaced by another mind. You are not replaced at all. So this is like a typical Upanishad saying, like, the air inside the pot and outside are same. Only it is separated by the wall of the pot. Once the wall is broken, it is one with the universe. The wall of the pot is your ego. So once that is broken, the emptiness of the space within the pot is the same as the space with the universe. So in the similar lines only Osho is telling. He is talking about the mind, about the walls of the mind. Once that is broken, then this emptiness or consciousness expands. So meditation is a subtle death, a deep death of you, your mind, your ego, of all that makes you defined. So that is true. Meditation or the true realization or enlightenment, whatever you call it, it's all same. And that is the death of the ego. There is no shortcuts. So ego is what it makes you define. Once that ego goes, then you become one with the universe. So for that, the ego has to die. There is no shortcuts. There is pure consciousness, what remains once the ego dies. So first, walls of the mind, the mental process, are not meditation. They are obstacles. They are walls of the mind. How has the mind defined itself? How has it become a limited thing? Where are the boundaries, the walls due to which mind has become separated from the mind? There is small mind, which he calls small mind, and the realized one, he calls it with the bigger mind, bigger M. So that is how Osho differentiates it. So he says the mind with a small m, which is the ego, once it is gone, the mind with big M, which is consciousness, comes into being. That's what Osho is trying to say here. There are three things. First is memory. The greater part of the mind is memory. And this memory is long. It goes back through all the infinite lives that you have lived. The mind accumulates everything, not only which you have collected consciously when you are asleep. The mind is collecting even when you are in coma. Mind is nothing but mostly memories and thoughts. And we are continuously accumulating these memories throughout our life. Like we are accumulating wealth, we accumulate memories in terms of knowledge, experience. We go on collecting it. The mind goes on collecting. Nothing escapes it. The unconscious mind is a great Chinese wall of memories, a very long one. This memory is not only part of your brain, but in fact a part of each and every cell of your being, of each and every cell of your body. That is why 23 chromosomes from the male, 23 chromosomes from the female begin to create you. They have built-in program. They have built-in memory. One day we will be capable of knowing what type of nose you will have, even on the first day you are in the womb. The new egg will indicate the types of eyes you will have, how long your life will be, how much intelligence, how is the ego. The simple looking cell is complex as you are. It has the memories of the whole race. It continues the collective mind. And when your soul, when your ego, your mind penetrate it, so the body has memories and your mind has its own memories. You are at crossroads, a mind with so many memories and a body with so many memories. And the whole collective race, the whole collective mind. That is true. Like he says, our memory is not just individual memory, it is a collective memory. Because we experience what is imposed by the society and what is learned throughout thousands of years of living of human being. All this memory is passed on and which is ingrained in our cells, in our brain. So that is what we follow, and that is strengthened more and more as we experience things in our life. So our life is a victim to them. We are a victim to them. Howsoever we may fight against them, finally it is only the body or the mind which wins. Your mind is nothing compared to you because it is a racial mind. That is why all the religions fell into trap when they begin to fight for the body. You cannot fight it. You begin to fight it. You will only be wasting your life. So when you begin to fight these thousands of years of memory, it is another memory which strengthens only that memory which is called mind. So if you understand all this, then it does not strengthen the mind. Then the mind vanishes. So understanding is important. Then the ego goes up. So with this we will end this episode. Stay with me for another episode. Subscribe to my channel. Share this video. Thank you.